Today's lesson will be Module 5, Lesson 3, the area of an acute triangle. We're going to start off with the definition of an acute triangle. An acute triangle is a shape with three sides, and all angles are less than 90 degrees. So the triangles we talked about yesterday had at least one angle that was 90 degrees, which made it a right triangle. Because all angles are less than 90 but greater than 0, it makes them acute triangles. So I gave you a couple of examples of how that would look. The area, to find the area, we're going to stick with our same formula, 1/2 times base times height, and we abbreviate that as A equals 1/2 BH. For an acute triangle, the base is the same, and then the height will be drawn in and will be indicated usually by a dotted line. Now we're going to do an example together. So the first thing we're going to do is draw a triangle that has a base of 4 centimeters. And then we're going to draw in the height of 3 centimeters. Remember that our formula is A equals 1/2 base times height. Then I'm going to plug in numbers. So for my base, it will be 4 centimeters. My height will be 3 centimeters. I'm going to start off by multiplying 4 times 3, which gives me 12. So A equals 1/2 times 12. Remember, when you multiply something by 1/2, it's the same as dividing by 2. So 12 divided by 2 is 6. So the answer is 6. So A equals 6. And then I have centimeters 2 times, so centimeters squared. So everything else is going to be the same as we did in yesterday's lesson. So let's go ahead and take out your student book. In your student book, we are going to start off with some practice of just filling out this chart. And on this chart, they have an acute triangle, but if you see here, it looks like this is one triangle and then this is a second triangle. So it almost looks like triangle 1 and triangle 2. So I'm going to show you how we're going to do this. We're going to split this box almost all the way to the bottom. Let me zoom in a little bit so you can see what that looks like. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the area of this triangle right here, triangle 1. Remember, you're going to do area equals 1/2 base times height. So A equals 1/2 times, my base is 9 centimeters, times 12 centimeters. I'm going to first multiply 9 times 12. And 9 times 12 is 108. So area equals 1/2 times 108. Remember, when you are multiplying something by a half, that's the same as dividing. So I'm going to divide 108 by 2. So area equals 108 divided by 2, which gives me 54. And I have centimeters and centimeters, so that's centimeters squared. So I have 54 centimeters squared for triangle 1. Now I'm going to do triangle 2. Triangle 2 has a base of, I'm still going to use the same formula. Sorry, I got a little bit ahead of myself. So triangle 2, we're doing 1/2 times 12.6 centimeters times 12 centimeters. Now I'm going to multiply 12.6 times 12, and you can use your calculator for this, that's fine. So I'll have 1/2 times 151.2. And then remember, that's the same as dividing by 2. So my answer is 75.6. And then I have centimeters and centimeters, so that's centimeters squared. Now what I have to do is I have to put these two numbers together because this triangle is attached. So I have to add those together. So I have 54 plus 75.6, which gives me 129.6 centimeters squared. That it becomes my answer. Now on this other column over here, what they want you to do, I'm going to zoom out a little bit so that you can see the whole page here. What they want you to do is they want you to start off by adding the base together. So I'm going to start off with adding my base, which is 9 plus 12.6, which gives me 21.6. So that's going to become my base. So now I have area equals 1/2 base times height. So area equals 1/2. My base is now 21.6 centimeters times 12 centimeters for my height. My height didn't change. Now I'm going to start off by multiplying 21.6 by 1/2, or 21.6 by 12, and I get 259.2. Then I divide 259.2 by 2, and I get 129.6, and I have centimeters and centimeters, so centimeters squared. Your two answers should be the same. So in the column on the left, you're going to figure out the area of each triangle, triangle 1 and triangle 2. So you have to show the work for all of that, which means you're going to have to do some really small writing. In the second one, you're going to be adding the base and getting your base first, and then check to make sure that your two answers match. In the next one, this is triangle 1, and triangle 2 is real tiny. And in the last one, the triangle is upside down, but this is triangle 1, and this is triangle 2. So go ahead and work through that, pause the video, and then come back and check your work. Okay, so let's go over your answers. For the second triangle, you should have gotten 30 and 94/100 feet squared for both sides. For the next triangle, you should have ended up with 4 and 1/72. I'm sorry, 4 and 1/72 inches squared. And on the last one, you should have gotten 736 meters squared. Now let's go ahead and go on to the next page that's in the lesson. Next it says, can we use the formula 1/2 area equals 1/2 base times height to calculate the area of triangles that are not right triangles? We just did that together, so we can say yes, as long as you know a triangle's base and height, you can calculate the area. For question number 3, it says examine the given triangle and the expression. So here's my triangle. It's made up of 2 separate triangles. So this is my first triangle. My first triangle has a base of 3 and a height of 4. And then my second triangle has a base of 8 and a height of 4. The model that it gives me, they didn't put in the A equals. A equals 1/2 times 11 times 4. So I have to figure out what part is the 11. If you said that the 11 was the base, which is 3 foot plus 8 foot, you were correct in your thinking. The 4 foot is the height. Now we're going to go on to number 4. Number 4 says, Joe found the area of the triangle by writing area equals 1/2 times 11 inches times 4 inches. While Caitlin found the area by writing area equals 1/2 times 3 inches times 4 inches plus 1/2 times 8 inches times 4 inches. Explain how each student approached the problem. Joe used 11 inches. So if I look back at my base, I can see that Joe combined the 2 triangle bases into one base. So I will say Joe combined the 2 triangles into one by adding the bases. By adding the 2 bases together, and Caitlin did the 2 separate triangles. Caitlin determined the area of the 2 triangles and then added them together. And now we'll go ahead and move on down to number 5. Number 5 says the triangle below has an area of 476 square inches. If the base is 3.4 inches, let h be the height. So now we have to figure out what parts of the expression are represented by the picture. So it says, how can the equation 4 and 76/100 inches squared equals 1/2 times 3 4/10 inches times h represent the situation? The 4 and 76/100 is the total area. The 3 4/10 inches is the base. And the h is the unknown height. And now they want us to solve it. So if you remember, we use area equals 1/2 base times height. We're going to cross out area and replace that with 4.76. Keep my 1/2. My base is going to be 3.4. And then I keep my h. The first thing I'm going to need to do is put these 2 together. Remember, that's the same as like dividing by 2. So 3.4 divided by 2. 2 goes into 3 one time. Put in my decimal. 2 goes into 14 7 times. So now I have 4.76 equals 1.7h. Now I isolate the variable by using inverse operations. So isolate, use inverse. So I'm going to divide both sides by 1.7. So now I have 4.76 divided by 1.7. I need to move my decimal, and I'm going to go ahead and put it up at the top. Then how many 17s go into 47? 2, and that's 34. I subtract 7 minus 4 is 3. 4 minus 1 is 1. 6 minus, or then I bring down my 6. How many 7s go into 136? That's 8. So my answer is, my height is 2.8 centimeters. Or I'm sorry, that's inches. Got used to the problems being in centimeters. Please remember that you can pause and rewind this video as much as you need to if you are uncertain or if there's something you need to hear again. Today's assignment is on your exit ticket, calculate the area for triangles 1 and 2. And then on the back, you're going to calculate the area for some shapes. And then answer questions 5 through 8. Please remember that when you see a question that has 2 parts, this is not multiple choice. You need to answer both parts. Again, feel free to ask questions if you have questions, or pause and rewind the video as much as you need.